So, Gavin, I really appreciate your time today. It's a true honor to have you on the show. I've seen what you've been doing online, and all the people that you've helped as well. So thank you very much for your time, and welcome to the show, mate.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, me too. Awesome. So, before we get into the whole business and your career and get to know you, let's have a little bit about your background. So I can see from your book collection there, you're a consummate personal development junkie, right? So I think at age 15.
Yeah. Since the age of 15.
Yeah.
So I was studying for school exams in the UK, and they're called the GCSE exams, and I put myself under quite a lot of pressure, whether it was a bit of parental pressure. But anyway, I was struggling with getting a bit kind of wound up and a bit stressed about it. And my dad at the time worked for the UK arm of an American sales company. And they used a lot of books and American-based sales training programs. And that sort of stuff was relatively new to the UK and to UK sales at that time. And my dad had been given this book called The Success System That Never Fails by W. Clement Stone.
That's a small book, isn't it, right?
Yeah. And it's all about a sales system and a brilliant story of a guy who was selling insurance and in America in the sort of 20s and 30s. But in it, he quotes Napoleon Hill's famous quote, which is, "What the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve." And of course, that comes out of Napoleon Hill's classic Think and Grow Rich.
That's your life motto as well, right?
Oh, God, yeah. It's my life motto, yeah. Because my dad handed this to me at the age of 15, and he said, Gavin, think about getting 9 A grades at GCSE 50 times a day, and say to yourself, what the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. And I went, okay, Dad. I didn't know any different. And I did as he suggested, and I got my 9 A's, and it blew my mind. So, book number 2 at the age of 15, 16 was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I was hooked from then on in. And that was me.
That's a good starting point.
What an amazing starting point. And I do, my eldest son now is 7, and I do hope I'm able to set him down a similar path. It's interesting because you can't force them. I took to it, whereas my brother, who's 2 years younger than me, it's a load of mumbo jumbo. He's not at all interested in that kind of thing. But for me, it took me down and started a journey at 15, 16 years of age around personal development and personal growth.
That's amazing. So, because I hear a lot of stories about people who go through a lot of pain, right? They have a painful past and then they pick up a book and they get into it and stuff. But the book was actually handed down to you, and that's how you started, right? So that's really amazing.
It's such a profound insight that you just shared there. And I'll tell you a funny story. So I think on my second or third date, really early with the lady that's now my wife, she had worked in the British National Health Service, in the NHS. She'd got a kind of a medical professional health background. And she said, "Wow, you're into all this coaching and personal development. Did you have some kind of a crisis?" And I didn't deal with that question, very well, considering, it's like date number 2, date number 3. And I went, "No, what do you mean? Do you think I'm a nutter or something?" No. And actual fact, that observation that she shared, which is what you also shared, is absolutely spot on and accurate. And most people that find personal development are going in search for some answers. And for me, I needed some answers about, I was feeling overwhelmed with my studies because I wanted to do well, but I was finding it very difficult. I found some answers in the whole piece around mindset and a direction and hope and something to focus on that was positive, as opposed to anxiety, worry, and negativity. And fortunately for me at that time, I had a father that had a resource in a book that to say, this has helped me professionally in my selling. This could help you right now. And so, yes, I did. After having a level of sort of stress and anxiety about exams at a young age, it became a foundation for me in terms of growth. And I not only did I get into it, I was able to help other people both personally and professionally and in their business using the tools ultimately around personal development and coaching and business growth.
And you've been doing it for quite some time, right? For about 10, 20 years, reading a lot of personal development books and
Well,
yeah.
well,
Mm,
I've been reading personal development books
yeah.
for over 30 years
30
now, but
years. Yeah, yeah.
I've been coaching people in their businesses
Yep.
for, knocking on the door of 25 years now, coaching people
Mm,
either individually or, the last decade or more, been helping people grow and scale their businesses.
okay. And from the 30 years of experience of reading the personal development, what's the biggest insight that you've seen from all the books that you've read?
The simple and most profound, and it's not, of course, not new because a lot of people talk about it, is that you
Mm,
get in life what you focus on.
wow,
You,
love that.
you get in life and you focus on. So if you're focusing on what's going wrong, you're focusing on lack, you're focusing on where there are things wrong in your life,
Mm,
in your relationship, in your work, in your health, in your finances, whatever that might be, you will see more of that and go down more of that path. If you
mm,
focus on where you want to go, what you want to achieve, then you're going to get more of that. And
mm,
I think very easy to say that statement, what you focus on in life, you get. The second biggest thing is it needs constant work, constant mental practice to reinforce. Just like you can't go to the gym once and then remain get fit and remain fit. You've constantly got to work on your health and your physique. Similarly, with your mindset, to keep a healthy mind, you're constantly going to be working on focusing on the things that you do want, because boy oh boy, life, the news, the media, your social
mm.
media constantly influences you with your things that are not right or compares you to things that are not right.
Yeah, I remember you said in another podcast that I think you stopped watching the news, like you stopped watching the media because just makes you so negative and
Hey,
yeah,
I've just
takes you
had
off a game.
it's so true.
Yeah.
I've just had 10 days on, literally today's my first day back from 10 days holiday, 10 days vacation. And
Mm,
certainly 7 of those, we went to a beautiful set of islands off the southwestmost tip of the UK called the Scilly Isles of Scilly. And I genuinely did not check the news once. And I can say to you, my life has not been in any way deteriorated or diminished by not checking the news once in 7 days.
mm.
And I found myself yesterday as I got back home and got back onto good Wi-Fi, starting to check the news. I'm like, oh, no, stop right now.
Trump's gonna kill me.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's good. That's good discipline right there. 7 days with no news. So I think it's getting really addictive as well. Like it just I don't know. They've got AI powered. They've just done something to the headlines that just makes you to pull you in now. So yeah, I think that's really important advice for people right now. So
You think about, your brain is an amazing tool, and it will
yeah.
think and it will work on stuff that you put in front of it, whether it's things you watch, things you listen to, things you scroll. And it's really important to get your brain working on things where you want to go, the results you want to achieve,
Mm,
rather than constantly working on worry around, is Trump going to get back in, or what's going to happen with COVID, or what's going to happen in my business if there's another lockdown. Some of those questions from a business planning point of view are valid questions, but you then need to work on coming up with scenarios, coming up with a plan to address whatever that might be. What if we have another lockdown because of COVID, for example, but
mm,
not to be immobilized or paralyzed in your thinking and your action because of fear.
that's really good. Awesome. Okay, so let's move on to your career as well, your background in terms of your career. I think you used to work for KPMG as well. You're
Yeah,
doing,
so
yeah.
so at a university, I
Mm,
trained and qualified as a chartered accountant with KPMG, and it's a phenomenal firm and an amazing caliber of training. And I got exposure to the world of initially insolvency, so businesses that were unfortunately going bust. I got exposed to the world of audit, where you're going in and checking different businesses. And so really from an early age, 2021, I was in a different business every week, or usually more than
mm,
one business in a week. And I saw what didn't work, what did
yeah,
work, started to see a lot of patterns.
it's really
And
good insight. Yeah.
I was always really interested in the people and the bigger strategic picture of a business.
That's good.
I was less strong on the technical accountancy pieces, but I always loved the business, the strategy, the growth, what made a business tick, and what were the levers for that business to either improve and grow and scale, or to falter and fail.
I like what you just said about the patterns as well, because after when you see so many companies, what they're doing and everything, you start to see patterns. What's the common pattern that you see with businesses that tends to fail? What's the issue that they tend to have?
Yeah, I think there's several to that, but the first and foremost one is not managing cash, and not managing cash enough. And
Mm,
being very focused on growth is important, but you've got to make sure that you are managing your cash very carefully, and also that fundamentally you're making enough profit, to have something at the end of left at the end of the month or the end of the year.
mm,
So, so many people who start a business because they are operationally or technically good at something, and they believe that they can go to the marketplace and offer something in terms of a better service or a better quality of product than that is currently in the marketplace. And in many cases, they're absolutely right. But just because you're a better practitioner, or in terms of the words of Michael
Yeah, Michael
Gerber,
Gerber. Yeah, yeah.
Mike, he says a technician, you might be a good technician, but that doesn't make you a good business operator or a business owner. And so where a lot of people go wrong is that they focus on the operational delivery of their skill or their product, and don't necessarily focus enough on what will make that become a business that's going to be profitable and healthy, and that can grow and sustain that growth over time.
Yeah, I
Cash is
think.
one component, profit is another component.
So you're saying like work on the business rather than in it, right? To create
Yeah, yeah.
systems and yeah. Okay.
It's about creating systems, but even before that, it's about understanding your numbers and are you making any money. And you might
Mm,
think that your gross profit, and this conversation might sound all very accountancy orientated at the moment, and there's a lot more depth behind it. But if you haven't got some fundamentals right, then none of the more sexy stuff around product development, technological or app or technology innovation, acquisitions, etc., can happen if fundamentally you're not making enough money. And
mm.
fundamentally, are your sales revenues greater than all of your costs of operating your business, and then are you accumulating that profit so that you can grow?
Mm. That's really good as a strategist. You go into a business and you can identify the pain points, the areas in which is breaking the business, and then say, okay, this is what you got to
Yeah.
do to fix it. Yeah.
So that's one example of people not
Mm,
making enough profit, being able to operate the business, and therefore they're losing money. Another area might be they're just not managing their cash well, and they are taking too long to collect the cash in, and they're paying it out before they're collecting it in.
mm,
Another might be they haven't got the systems, to your point earlier on, or the people in order to be able to then scale. Another one might be, currently is a very pertinent point right at the moment, is they might not be recognizing the changing needs of their customer, of their marketplace, and adapting to those changing needs. So, 25 years of going into different businesses, several different businesses every month over 25 years, you spot the patterns, as I've already mentioned, but I'm quickly able to diagnose what's working, what's not working, and the levers that you need to pull in order to get that business back on track.
I think that's really valuable advice that you just gave, because as a business owner, you're so busy trying to get clients, you're so busy putting out fires and everything, but you don't have the outside perspective. And I think what you do is it's really good how you can see the helicopter view on the whole thing, right? And it's, oh, hang on, that's that's right, yeah, I've got the issue there, so it's a good thing that you spotted that. So
I use the phrase that you can't see the label on the jam jar when you're on the inside of the jam jar.
I love that. It's good.
And it's when there's an external person going in, based on that 25 years of experience, I can spot issues, whether it's to do with people and the caliber of the staff or the team dynamics of that staff, whether it's operational issues, whether it's financial issues, whether it's strategic issues, marketing issues. I've got that experience in order to be able to say, these are the 2 or 3 areas where you've got problems. This is what we need to address.
Mm,
And it's not, it's experience. You go into that many businesses over the years, large and small, from big PLC listed companies to small startups, and you know very quickly what it is that needs to happen to change the performance of that business. And
mm,
typically, I get called into businesses that either are in need of turnaround, or they've had growth, they are now plateauing, and they've not worked out what they need to do to get back into growth again.
yeah. So there's different stages of the business, right? That yeah, that they want to, like, some businesses want to scale, and some businesses are just at the survival area, but they're just trying to, hunt what
Yeah,
they
and,
kill and
and
stuff. So yeah.
exactly. So
Mm,
in my book, Survive and Thrive, how to secure, scale, and succeed in business, I look at those two different areas. In part one of the book, it's all about survival. If you are in survival mode right now,
mm,
these are things that you need to do around cash. These are things you need to do around cost based. These are things you need to do around revenue and sales and profit in order to keep the business afloat, to keep your boat afloat.
mm,
If you are in a position of we're all right, we're our heads above water, to use that analogy, but we're just plateauing, we want to grow, then part two, the thrive part, is built on my 6-part model called the strategy compass. And I take businesses through 6 things that have to be there in order to get their business to thrive.
mm.
And I've applied that model a number of times, many, many times actually, but in a program called W Business I ran, where we help businesses to double their revenue in a year by applying the 6 parts of the strategy compass.
That's amazing. So let's talk about your book, Survive and Thrive. So how did you come across the idea for the book as well?
So the book came out about I was getting some great results in helping businesses to
Mm,
scale and to grow, and in its first inception, it was all going to be about what has become the Thrive element portion of the book, the strategy compass model, the 6 steps
mm,
for a business to scale and grow. But then I started to recognize that, with changing times and uncertainty, not everybody is in thriving mode at the moment. And whether that be COVID, but pre that in the UK in particular was the whole Brexit and change of
yeah.
uncertainty around governments and stuff like that. We were also getting towards the top of 10 years of an economic cycle. So an economic slowdown was inevitable. It wasn't a case of if, it was a case of when. And so I recognized that to write a book just about thriving at a time when the phase of the economic cycle could change was probably a mismatch. So, but that also, I didn't want to preclude the fact that some people do want to thrive. So then through conversations at home with my wife was about, well, hold on, why don't, some of what you do is about helping people survive, but some of it is what you do to help people thrive. How about survive and thrive? And then I effectively built in a new front end to the book, a part one to the book about survival and then it flowed into part two being about thrive.
That's amazing. And yeah, like, as you just mentioned, there's a lot of uncertainty at the moment. People a bit scared as well, and COVID-19 as well. So I'm just curious, what would your advice be to people who's struggling during this pandemic phase?
Um, I don't want this to sound trite, but don't panic. Because the reason why I say don't panic is panicking and over excessive, sort of worry and anxiety, first and foremost, will totally sort of harm your body's own natural ability, its immune
Mm,
system, to be able to fight off anything that you may sort of come across. So we need to be working on our mental and physical health to give us the best chance of survival at the moment. And so, the basics around exercise, hydration, a balanced diet are really, really important. But then it's also about, like, start to focus on what you do want. Start to be able to have that. So easy with people are worrying right now to take the mindset of a victim.
mm,
Why is this happening to me? Why now? What am I going to do about, what on earth we're going to do? Oh no, I'm doomed, or my business is doomed. And you need to shift that from being the victim to the victor, and what is it that we can do to use this period of uncertainty to turn it into opportunity so our business can come out and emerge as one of the victors from this. And I think this is a period of time that we'll look back in 2 years' time and we'll have seen that some businesses will have had the mindset of a victor, that will look for opportunities through the uncertainty, that will have developed their business and developed their strategy and really gone for it, and they will have emerged so much further ahead that those that didn't, who are quite frankly probably lucky to still be around.
mm,
So I think economically, from a business point of view and an employment point of view, we haven't seen the pain yet. We haven't felt the pain yet. That's
mm.
going to happen over the coming months. And
Wow.
the time of recording this in September of 2020, I think the autumn of 2020 and winter 2021 I think it's going to be a tough time for a lot of businesses, and certainly in some environments where some territories around the world where various government support packages may be coming to a close, then I think you've got an issue where those government support packages start to tail down. You'll see increasing level of redundancies, less money in the economy. But then you say, well, where is the demand? Where is that latent demand? We've got a window of opportunity now of several months to be able to see where can we adapt, where are the markets where
Mm.
place, so that we are still relevant for the changing needs of our customer.
I think yeah, what you just said there is really um, it's really inspiring, and also the wisdom as well, because like you just said about the focus and also to improve physical health as well. I think during like the lockdown, it's really, you get drawn to the whole media, you feel negative, and obviously you just, your whole attitude just drops as well, and you're not taking care of your health as well. So, and I really like that, how you got to focus and look at the different opportunities, because I noticed that there's a lot of gyms that closed. There was a lot of gyms that couldn't accept new members and stuff. So then they started innovating. They started creating these online trainings where people, instead of going to the gym, then they start training at home. So just like what you just said about there's different opportunities in different areas. You just got to look for them. So
I got sucked in the early stages of the lockdown into social media feeds that I realised was not helping me. And there were,
Mm,
I live in Wales, in North Wales, in the UK, and Wales had different lockdown rules to England and stayed in lockdown longer. And I got quite angry about that and quite frustrated because it
mm,
was disadvantageous. And then I suddenly caught myself, and I have a core sort of value about fairness and equity, and I felt it was unjust. And I realized that I was wasting energy and depleting not only my productivity but my physical health and mental health by just
mm,
engaging in that sideshow. And it's just like, whoa, I want to be setting a course, not putting my head straight into the center of a storm. I want to be navigating around it, looking for opportunities, helping my
mm,
clients to lift the head above the worry, because it's not going to serve any of us.
mm, mm. I'm curious about your physical, like in terms of your daily habits and in terms of physical health. What do you tend to do? What's your routine there?
Yeah, so up in the morning, somewhere between usually about 6 o'clock, 6 a.m. and 6:30 a.m. thereabouts, and then I jump on. I've got a Peloton exercise bike, which I probably love, and so there is exercise, 5 or 6 mornings a week for me. I recently actually was a little bit over too enthusiastic and have been recovering from a knee injury for 3 weeks. So
Wow.
that's been a bit frustrating, but that's my own silly fault for pushing too hard and not leaving. I'm not paying attention to. There's a great example of balance, right? So the knee
Mm,
injury that I got was it's a great example for life and for business, because I the gyms were closed, was not able to go to the gyms. I pretty much switched the majority of my exercise routine into exercise on a bike, on a Peloton. My outer quadriceps muscles got developed, but the inner quadriceps muscles didn't, and my kneecaps started to track outwards and not run in the groove that they should,
ooh,
causing a lot of inflammation and pain. Now, I just thought, to work, just work harder, just go at it harder, and I did, and I was loving the adrenaline, and I was getting some great results, but not being aware that I wasn't taking account of. It's like pushing hard in your business for sales, for more and more revenue. But if you're
mm,
decreasing margin or not managing your cash, you might think you're doing well because you're looking at the speedometer, but you're not realizing you're about to run out of gas.
mm,
And that was what happened to me. Is a great analogy in my exercise was, unbeknownst to me, just going hard on an exercise bike 6 times a week, I was developing some muscles that were, whilst others were being underdeveloped, and my basic body biomechanics weren't working properly. So my knees
mm,
weren't operating as they should have been. And that's the same is true for your business. You've got to make sure that if you're pushing hard on sales, that you've got cash, or if you're pushing hard on sales and output and activity, you're not burning your teams out. Or the fact you might be selling well now here, but are you nurturing your innovation and the new product development for the needs and the demands of the future? Everything's got to have an element of balance. And that point we talked before about the helicopter view, where you stand back to be able to say, right, it's going really well over here, but are we in balance? Is everything around the wheel of our business operating, smoothly, or have we got sort of an egg in our tire, a bump in our tire that's really going to be interrupting how smoothly we are? Sorry, I was
Mm.
mixing metaphors there, but
No,
you
no, it's
get the
good.
idea.
It's a really good, yeah, it's a really good metaphor there. Yeah, so it's all connected, it's all entwined, and you have to look at the certain areas to improve upon. So,
But just to
uh,
get back to your
mm,
conversation about sort of routines and stuff, so
mm,
start off with exercise, and then to me that's jumping into a period of visualization, reading my identity statement, which is one of the tools that I talk about in the mindset chapter in the book, visualizing the goals that I want to achieve,
mm,
and visualizing, focusing on sort of three major projects that I'm working on right now and the results that I want to achieve with those.
mm,
And one area that I'm practicing or evolving on more now is making sure there's some quiet meditative thinking time as well.
that's amazing. And you also have a business mastermind podcast as well. I was listening to a
Yeah.
few episodes. Yep, yep. How did that come about?
Yeah, so um I love connecting with people like yourself. I love the
Mm,
podcasting medium. I had been a listener of podcasts for some time, and I wanted to build a platform and be able to reach out to people, and also to be able to add value
mm,
with through really engaging interviews, but also to be able to find out, to be able to share some of my insights and knowledge.
mm.
And so yeah, May 19 we launched, and yeah, I think we're up to like 140 episodes now,
That's a
and
lot.
yeah. So output's up there, but it's something I've been super consistent with, and for me, it's a labor of love, and it's something
Mm.
that I really enjoy, and I'm starting to increasingly see the results now.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that you're really passionate about that. You know, you're a people person. It's amazing because you came from KPMG. It's a lot of the numbers stuff, but then move towards the whole sales, the whole people side of things. It's a really unique transition there. So you
I
found your
had
calling.
I had a funny little story. So I as a 20, I don't know what being 21-year-old student training with KPMG, we went on this audit. So I was a young kid, yeah, a young guy, and I went on this audit of a lingerie manufacturer, and the accountancy team there, the finance team, were all ladies, and they thought it would be great fun to embarrass a young 21-year-old lad. And so one of the things that they did shout, "Ooh, Gavin's a people person. He's not like the other boring accountants. He's a people person." Oh, we like people person. And they wound me up,
Oh
and I went
no.
red at the age of 21. And it was fun, but it was interesting for me in terms of feedback. It was the people side of it, the bigger picture, how the business operates, the strategy was always my thing.
Mm,
And if you're doing an assessment of a business and whether it's a going concern and its financial basis, that's integral. The people aspect and the bigger
mm.
picture around a business is as important as the numbers.
Yeah, it's so true because on the numbers it says, okay, we need to boost more sales. But if you know the people side of it, you know how to talk to people. It's persuasion, it's the marketing, it's creating those pieces, and that's what drives the cash flow, as you say. So, yeah, I think that it looks like you've embraced the whole people side of things, and it's paying its dues there. So there you go. Hopefully, you're
And
not
if
getting
you want,
teased anymore. So,
yeah, no. If you want to engage a team of people in your company, in your
mm,
business, to go on a journey of growth with you, you've got to make that compelling. You've got to make it attractive. You've got to show them how they can contribute to a bigger picture, a bigger why, but
mm,
also, what's in it for them. And so much impatience around leadership, right? We want to get there. We've got to hit that target. And say, yeah, we want to create followership. We want to attract people to come on a journey with us. And there's a way in which we can communicate and we can relate to people that they want to come on that journey with us, and we'll work together as a team and get the best out of it. And that's another point right now
mm,
in COVID times with teams of people. There are people returning to places of work, understandably apprehensive or nervous. And I think people, when in times of fear or anxiety, look inwards, and that's not a good place to look in terms of if you are worried and anxious. We need to give a purpose and a direction to people, and I'll come back to that point about looking inwards in a minute. But at first level, we need to give a direction and purpose to people. Come on, this is where we're going. This is what we're going to achieve. This is the difference it's going to make to our customers and to our
mm,
customers' customers. A rallying cry. We can see this, take this as the opportunity it is to emerge from this as the victor rather than the victim.
mm.
as leaders of the business, we do need to go inwards. Anybody within the business, whether it be reflection, awareness, meditation, that's great, but that's from a position of quiet, calm introspection and reflection. So when I said a few minutes ago, it's not good to go in, I'm saying, if the only thing inside your head is worry, anxiety, stress, and panic, you don't want to hang out there. You want to focus your attention on where you want to go. Back to your fundamental question: what's your learning of 30 years being? Focus on what you do want, not what you don't want. But then once you are focusing on what you don't want, then you need to find the internal calmness and stillness to get the insights and tap into your own intuition.
And you learn all that through a lot of the meditation that you do every few days, or like that's a lot of the
But
interest. Yeah,
through. Hey, there's some 200
just
books on
yeah, yeah. There
behind
you
me.
go.
Not to mention the amount of books on Audible, on the
Yeah,
phone,
yeah.
and on the Kindle. But even
Mm,
holidays are a great time. Holidays are a great time to reflect on to reflect and read. And whilst we're here talking about my book, Survive and Thrive, I'm a
yeah.
massive fan of this recently launched book by Vishen Lakhiani called The Buddha and the Badass.
Oh wow,
And
haven't
this
seen
is a
that
book I
before.
would really recommend to any. Of course, Survive and Thrive by Gavin Preston.
Yeah, of
But
course, that's a great book. Yeah.
but The Buddha and the Badass by Vishen Lakhiani is just such a good book that I was really head into reading on holiday. And that's the point about the need to. There's a time to hustle, but there's a time when you need to. If one of the key points he makes is if your world and experience of business in life is struggle and hard work and
Mm,
relentless grind, you're not listening enough to your inner gut feel, intuition, intelligence as to, you might be running hard to climb a ladder that's lands against the wrong wall.
exactly.
So you need some time to be able to just calmly reflect and think about key problems. And if there's one trait that I've seen successful people in whatever endeavor, but let's say the world of business do, is that they diary time to just sit there and think. They get a
Mm.
particular question that they want to think on, but they diary time in to think.
Mm-mm. I love your philosophy that it covers everything. Your philosophy is all about taking care of your family, taking care of your personal health, making sure your business is good as well. Because, if you just focus on just one area, if it's just a business, but you don't focus on your health or your family, then that's going to pull down your business if it fails, right? So that's,
What I've been
yeah.
interested over the time and got proficient in areas around personal development and personal coaching, business
Mm,
coaching, know about behavioral change tool sets like CBT and neuro linguistic programming, coaching tools. Got obviously the accountancy piece, built a knowledge around marketing, online and offline marketing, knowledge around strategy, knowledge around systems and operations. And my whole aim would be is that going into a business, it works as a holistic, well, it either does or doesn't work as a holistic, interrelated systems of soft systems of people and hard systems of machines and
mm,
processes and IT. And it's very easy to, all right, all the answers are in marketing, on digital marketing, or all the answers are in sales. And so the answers to all of our problems are in marketing or in sales.
mm,
Well, it's just like taking a hammer and using that as the solution, the tool for every single problem. And my philosophy has been is I want to help you grow. I want to help you grow as a business, but I want to help you grow as a human being and have fundamentally more fulfillment and enjoyment in your time here on the planet. And for so many people in their business takes up so much of their life and actually requires sacrifice in other aspects of their life, whether that be their family or their social time or even their health, that there is a way to grow your business, to make a difference in the world in the marketplace that you're serving, but also have a fulfillment, enjoyment of your journey there. Because, hey, there's a lot of people grow up in struggle, in survive, and I want to help them move from survive into thrive.
I love that. And I think I heard a point on that one is I think I heard you mention about you want people to visualize what their life would be if they were sitting on a rocking chair, right? When they're 80 years old, looking back and, you know,
Yeah,
what would
yeah,
be
and
the ideal life would be, right?
what the ideal life would be,
Mm,
what would give you the greatest level of fulfillment and buzz and enjoyment for being here and alive. And I think so many people feel like they're just wading through treacle every day and they're just ticking off a number of jobs on a
mm,
to-do list rather than actually creating a business and a life that they enjoy, and they think, hey, this is vibrant, this is juicy, I can't wait to be a part of it.
That's awesome. All right. So how about this? If you were to go into a time machine, press a button, go back maybe about, 15, 20 years, talk to your younger self, what would you say?
I would say trust the process. So worry less and trust the process, and spend more time on focusing inward, on meditation, on visualization. I wouldn't have needed to give myself the advice about learning more, because I've always wanted to learn and to be able to learn from people that are better than me. So I don't think I would have needed to have adjusted that advice, because I've taken that on board and really invested in my own training, coaching, professional development, business development. I think I would have encouraged myself to do more of the inner work earlier, and had that thinking time as part of a daily practice earlier in my life.
That's beautiful. All right. So if people want to get in contact with you and find out, a bit more information
Yeah.
about you, how can people get
Yeah,
in contact
so if
with
they want to find out more information about me, connect with me on social. So it's Gavin Preston on LinkedIn, on Facebook. Just go to gavin.live and that connects you through to my Facebook, gavin.live. My website is gavinpreston.com. But finally, if you want to find out more about the book, about Survive and Thrive, how to secure, scale, and succeed in business, then just go to surviveandthrive.cc. So that's www.surviveandthrive.cc.
Beautiful. Awesome. Gavin, really appreciate your time today.
It's been a real pleasure.
Real pleasure. And yeah, like you've shared some amazing wisdom, and I wish you all the best for your future endeavors. I know that you're going to be helping out a lot of companies in future, and also helping them, survive and thrive as well. So thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.